I got to see the band a few times. I met Satriani at the Cabo Wabo thing, but, we're not close enough that you just hang out.
Sure.
But I was sitting there having birthday, I think he was 55 at the time.
Right.
58 or 50,
yeah, something like that. Sure.
Anyways, I was having his birthday cake as we just finalized the Bigfoot. And I'm pretty sure he didn't know when I had just talked with Nick, because, those guys, the manager always figures out stuff for the band, right?
Right.
But I just thought it funny because he's probably wondering who I was. They're sharing his birthday cake.
Right.
But anyways, so we finalized it, and then off we went. They packed up the tour, carried on to the next city. I went back to work, doing some more work, and then I got a phone call saying that E1 was getting such a positive response to the new album that they wanted to put it out like way earlier than it was expected.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was asked if I could do this video in like a third of the time that I would have needed.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, so I said, the whole idea that we started, Carter and I, was to go for something, just pull out all the stops and do something epic, right? So that's what the idea I had, was just epic explosions, effects, and everything else. And I said, to try and do this concept on like the little or no time we have now, it's not the same situation as we had with Get It Up, and I had a lot of the artwork already finished in an animatic.
Wow.
And I said, look, I got to be honest with you, as much as it's killing me, I can't, not only can I not do this video, or anybody at Pipeline do this video, I don't think anybody could pull off this video in this time.
Right.
I had to not decline it, but I had to say, unless we can come up with something like a brand new idea that's way simpler,
right?
If you still want animation, it would have to be way simpler. We could talk about trying to execute that.
Yeah.
But it was just such a ridiculously short amount of time. It was like a month or 2 months. That time in animation time was like 10 minutes. You could burn through a month, just finalizing one character design, right?
Yeah.
So we had to kind of stop. And some of the elements of that video I've seen show up in different things the band has done over the last few years. I can't remember what it was when Mikey's playing with one of his cards. I can't remember what it was in, but I've seen little sprinklings of it, right?
Really?
But the biggest thing was that the video was going to be in 3D.
Oh.
And at that time, I had software that could make it stereoscopic. And I said to Carter, how about an idea? Look, it's not a brand new concept. I said, how about the CD comes with the red and blue glasses, the 3D glasses?
Right.
And the disc actually shipped with those glasses.
Wow. Right. Oh, that was your idea?
That happened. You can get those glasses in boxes of cereal in the 50s. So
right.
The idea is not my idea.
Right.
But it was my idea for the CD to be stereoscopic.
Right.
Sorry, not the CD, but the video.
Right.
And the glasses come with the video. And he loved that idea. Right?
That's cool.
So anyways, what happened, though, is I think between Carter passing away and the album coming out, because what happens after the video kind of petered out, there was no reason for us to just continue talking, as much as I love connecting with Nick. But, there's nothing really to talk about now, right?
Right.
So it kind of stopped the conversations. And that's why I was surprised to see when the CD came out. I was happy to see they actually still went with the glasses. It took that idea to the next stage.
Right.
With those stereoscopic pictures and whatnot, right? But I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Dave, didn't they get nominated for an award for the packaging on that album?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, the packaging. Yeah, it's a cool package. He did the guy. I think his name was Todd Galapo. I think his name was.
Right.
I forget who it was, but it was.
Yeah, I think they had he's somewhere. He's a longtime friend of the band. He works a lot on their.
But you know what though, I have to say, Darin, they took a bit of a bath on that album, because if you remember correctly, dialing back, I think, 2011 or something, they did some sort of special thing with Best Buy and this, that. They had so many of those left over. The first Chickenfoot album went beyond gold. It did really well. And that album, I think, sold something like 45,000 or something. It was really low in comparison to the first Chickenfoot album. Nothing against the album. I actually like the album. But I'm just saying, I'm assuming Carter wasn't behind it. Maybe that had some sort of impact, his passing. Something went wrong with the marketing of that album or something along those lines. I thought Chickenfoot 3 was a ridiculous title. First of all, they were ripping off the Traveling Wilburys, and the Wilburys had a similar life. They were a super group, had a great first album, and the second album sort of petered out, and it didn't do as well. and they did the same thing with the Volume 3 kind of bullshit. And then, then Chad didn't do the tour, and then it became like a whole fucking thing, right? I mean, it was like,
there was definitely, I definitely noticed a changing in the Guard because, I was very fortunate that because I guess I'd come somewhat into a circle of the band, or at least the band's management, I got invited to a bunch of different, I think a couple of years after the video, I was still getting invites for the birthday bash.
Oh, wow.
But I did notice a definite changing of the Guard around Sammy's immediate, like once Carter passed.
Yeah.
It seemed like his whole inner circle kind of changed.
Yeah.
Hands now, right?
That happens. And, that was sort of, and Dave and I will get into this on another podcast, but just to touch on it a little bit, this is why Van Halen, the Van Hagar version with Sammy broke down. Because, I hate to say this, but their other manager died, which was Ed Loeffler. And Ed Loeffler was behind the success of all of the stuff right up into the live album. That's when he passed away. And it was between the live album and Balance where everything went awry. And
right.
I actually interviewed Sammy during this period, and I'm actually in the process of trying to dig out the tapes and put it on for the podcast, because I was with Sammy in Manhattan when he was promoting his unboxed greatest hits. And this is like 1994, he was going through his divorce, and he was with his wife, Kari, now, and that unboxed greatest hits, what he was getting paid for that was like paying off his divorce fees or whatever. But the band was really pissed off about that unboxed greatest hits. And he was doing 2 new songs on there. And they were fighting about management and who's going to take over for Ed Loeffler. And he was right smack in the middle of that when I interviewed him. Because he was in New York doing press. And you could tell that there were rumblings going on within the Van Halen camp, and that he was arguing with that. He sort of mentions it in the interview in a light way, but you can tell that he's like, I really think it should have been, we're kind of disagreeing here and there. And it was like obvious. The rumor that I had heard at the time and doing some research on it is that Sammy Hagar wanted Shep Gordon, and Shep is the manager of Alice Cooper. He also managed a bunch of he also Emeril Lagasse and all these different people like that. Sammy's good friends with Shep.
They both live in Hawaii,
right,
I think.
Right. And then obviously Emeril and Sammy are good friends and all that kind of stuff. Sammy wanted Shep, and what did they end up going with? They ended up going with Ray Daniels. Right. Which was the sinking ship to that version of Van Halen, and who was really behind the debacle with Dave, the whole hiring of Gary. I mean, that was twisting Van Halen into a pretzel. He went from losing Sam to trying to bring back Dave to going to Gary, or I should even say at that point, Mitch Malloy, and then going to Gary. It was such a goddamn mess. He was Alex's, ex-brother-in-law, right, Dave? It was like that.
Well, I think he was his current brother-in-law at the time.
Oh, was he his current at the time?
Well, then eventually, the timeline is hazy with Alex's marriages.
Right,
and divorces.
Exactly. So, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
No, the thing. So, because I don't want you to go too far into your rant, Dave, because we only have so much time.
You got it.
But Darin, I was just curious, what changes you noticed in Sammy the next time you saw him after Carter had passed away? What did you see that was different?
It felt like there's a lot more hangers-on around him, and it did not seem as organized as when Carter, he ran a tight ship.
Right.
And he was, I can't tell you how awesome he was. He was just such a great guy.
Right.
And I felt like when I saw Sammy during the book tour, I just felt like it was not as organized as when we had been working together previously on the video, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And since then, some of the, I guess, a lot of those people that I had mentioned, they don't seem to be in his camp anymore. It seems to be kind of, I don't know what happened, if they just weeded themselves out, but they don't seem to be around him anymore from what I see in videos and stuff, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Do you still talk to anybody in the band?
No, because you can't really, like, Carter was my guy, right? And you can't just email Sammy, right? You have to go to the managers.
Right.
And, now and then I do talk to Mick Brigden here and there. Because at one point, Sammy still liked the idea of videos. And I did get a call not too long after from his new manager. He was more like I'm not going to say bodyguard, but he's kind of like a tour manager that kind of looked like he may have been filling in between managers, I guess.
Okay.
But he asked me on behalf of Sammy, could I do an animated Christmas video for that Rudolph song that Sammy did around 2012, I think. 2012, I think he did a Christmas song.
Yeah, the one they're re-releasing for Record Store Day?
That could be the one, right? But they did ask me.
Okay.
And I was happy to take the call. I said, guys, I would love to do it. But again, like, you need it in 3 weeks. There's just no way. I said, by the time we land on a character design of Sammy that he's happy with, we're out of time. Forget an animated video.
It always seems
people don't understand how long it takes to do animation, right?
Right. It always seems like they give you less than a month to finish something.
Again, it was killing me to have to say, guys, I would love to help you, but there's just no way I can promise anything of quality in that short time.
That goes on in my office on a daily basis. This is you go to my editor and you'll pitch a story and they go, I love it. That's great. When can I have that? It's like, I literally just gave you the idea. I now have to go report that. What do you mean, when can you have it? I just, what I mean? Like, give me a chance to, like, put it together. I mean, I have to get the wheels in motion. It's so funny. And that's the same thing with my brother, and he's in a totally different industry than me. You give them an idea, and they're like, great, we want that now. It's like 2 seconds ago, you didn't even know it existed. Now you need it right now. It's hysterical.
Yeah, it was killing me. And the animation is such a collaborative process, and when you're working with musicians or celebrities, especially when you're going to be animating their likeness, they all want to have a sign-off of what they look like. And there's just no way we could have gotten something together that everyone was happy with and animate it to a decent level. It was like a month, right?
Yeah.
There's just no way.
You know how it works is if someone has a good eye, a good artistic direction, give them the song, let them run with it. That's what you do, because you got to trust the artist. If you like the artist's work, great. That's what you agree upon, and then let them interpret the song. It always comes out better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trust me, I mean, it was killing me to have to say no, but I just couldn't commit and guarantee that it would be decent when it was done. And I couldn't even guarantee we'd finish it on time, so I had to respectfully fight. And I think the guy who was kind of in the interim managing Sammy and whatnot, he seemed kind of mad at me, but again, he had no idea what we had gone through on the Get It Up video and how much back and forth and what work it actually is. So
absolutely,
that was kind of my final discussions. But when I did see Sammy on the book tour, he totally remembered me. He jumped up on his, because how he's sitting there signing books. He doesn't have a lot of time to really talk. He's kind of smiling as signing books.
Right.
When he saw my name and he's writing my name, he realized who I was and stood up and gave me a big hug. And we chatted as long as we could until people started moving me along the line. Right.
Yeah. Of course.
But he was definitely really cool. I know if I, showed up at a concert and got a chance to meet him again, I know he'd remember me again.
Yeah.
And he was very happy about this. They are all very happy with the video. And I gave them all digital printouts of, stills of their character in the video. And I had the whole crew sign it.
Oh, that's cool.
And sometimes you see pictures of Jorge, who manages the cantina.
Right.
Or even when you see Sandy up in his little room there before he goes on stage.
Yeah.
You can see some of the artwork of the video hanging there still.
Oh,
and
cool.
there's a picture I did. They asked me for a surprise for Sammy's birthday in 2011 if I would do like a collage, kind of a Mad Magazine caricature of all Sammy's close musician friends.
Wow.
And I put it on it took me forever to draw everybody, and I put it on a huge vinyl banner, and they gave it to him for his birthday.
Wow.
And it's funny because it's still, when I see pictures, it's still there, and I can still see all the artists who have now signed it. Because I put like Slash, I put Easy Top, I put Dimebag, I put his brother, Vinnie Paul, who was always there.
Wow.
So I can see over the years, all the people have been signing above their picture, right?
Oh, cool.
Cool.
That's great.
Nice.
So that was a pretty
That's
cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
They're all great. Everyone was great to deal with.
Cool.
They all seemed to. It's funny. They all seem to want to ask questions about how backyardigans was made because I guess their kids may have like.
Oh,
So it was kind of
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I was fielding lots of questions on backyardigans.
That's the most famous thing you've done with your company?
It's not one of the most famous, but I think it's one of the ones that went worldwide, and it just seems to be I guess it's the demographic that their kids or I guess